Hi, today I wanted to show you my little witchy book collection. I literally started this journey last September, so I don't have a lot of books. Also, because I'm very much in the broom closet and I live together with my boyfriend, and he doesn't know that I started this journey, this hobby, if you will. He knows about my interest in astrology, so I'm gonna start with my astrology books first. So this is actually the first astrology book that I ever got. It is The Signs, The Code, The Stars, Reframe Your Life by Caroline Faulkner, a guide to contemporary astrology. And I really like this book. I'm really happy that this is my first astrology book because I don't want to say basic, but kinda. So it goes over the planets, the houses, the signs, basically how to read your chart, and that's it. So what I learned from this book was how to interpret the glyphs and the signs in my birth chart, and I learned about creating my birth chart through their website dynamicastrology.com, and I really like it. But what they don't talk about the different house systems, and when I found out about the whole sign house system, that one really resonated with me, and that is the one that I use right now for interpreting my own birth chart as well as others whenever I want to. I mainly just interpret my own birth chart. So that is what I found really helpful for this from this book. So here they have a little example chart. And they have interpretations of, in this case, the sun in Taurus in the 11th house. So she explains what the sun represents, what that looks like when you have your sun in Taurus, and what it looks like when you have your sun in Taurus in the 11th house. And I really learned a lot about, when it comes to the signs, the gone wrong and gone right traits. What I find a little confusing still is that she also does that for the signs. So here with Mars, she has gone wrong and gone right traits for Mars. And I guess that is useful when you use it for with the aspects and the transits to look at timing and things that are gonna happen, but not necessarily to interpret your own birth chart to see what that means. And that is not really explained here in this book, so I really liked it for my basic knowledge, I guess, when it comes to the signs, the planets, and the houses, especially because I pretty much knew nothing about the houses when I got this book. And the funny thing is, so here we have a page, the fix for Libra, which are basically things that you have to learn to deal with when you are a Libra. For instance, spend time alone. So because Libra are known for really wanting to stick to somebody else, I guess, and learn to not be needy, stop judging, and boost decisiveness, which I found really funny. And they do that for all of the signs, and I really, really like that. So yeah, that is The Signs by Caroline Faulkner. I do recommend this as your first astrology book if you don't know anything about astrology and you just want to learn the basics. I think this one is a really good one. The second book that I got is this one, the only astrology book you'll ever need. I saw this on the podcast of Mile Higher, which I really, really love, and this goes way more into depth than this one. So it is it's a thick book. So this one doesn't only go over the signs, the houses, and the planets, but also the aspects, which was something that I really wanted to learn from this book. Let's go to the contents here. We have sun sign astrology, less well-known influences like your moon sign, your ascendant or your rising sign, the planets and the role that they play in your destiny or your birth chart, I guess, understanding astrology. So she writes about the houses, how to interpret your horoscope, and then the aspects. There's also a little history on astrology in our time. So she writes about the age of Aquarius, and this is something that is really, really interesting. And I'll link up to a podcast episode down below from the sesh, which talks all about the ages and more in depth the age of Pisces, where we're leaving or we have left, and entering the age of Aquarius. And it also has a lot of tables in the end to help you figure out your specific signs. So here there's a little explanation on sun signs. The part that I highlighted is the sun is also the most important and persuasive influence in your horoscope, and in many ways determines how others see you. Your individuality, your distinctive style, and your drive to fulfill your goals in life. And that really resonated with me when I am a Leo sun, and when I look at the Leo traits, it really resonated. It has some astrological backgrounds on the 12 signs, so whether the sign is masculine or feminine. It talks about polarities. So, for instance, the polarity of Leo is Aquarius, because Leo is a sign of personal pleasure and creativity, and the opposite sign, Aquarius, is a sign of hopes and ideals on a larger scale. And I believe, it also talks about I don't know how to pronounce this, but basically the elements, so fire, earth, air, water, as well as the qualities, so cardinal, fixed, mutable, and what that means. It goes so in depth, and I really like that. Here it even talks about you having your moon in Aries, and then you can see the difference when you have your moon in Aries versus your sun in Aries. There is so incredibly much information in this. It's probably not the only astrology book you'll ever need. If you want to go even more in depth, I wouldn't know what, because I don't even know everything that is in here yet. And the reason that, so when you are new at astrology, I would really recommend this book, just because it's has a little bit of a lower threshold, I guess, into astrology. It's easier to understand, and it's this is a lot. This is so much information, and I think it's a great resource book to own. But if you are very new at astrology and you feel like everything is getting very overwhelming, I think this book is a better option for you. But I do really, really recommend this book, and I think it is amazing. So the next book is Tarot and Astrology. So it's an astrology-based tarot book, and this is the only tarot book that I currently own. It is so interesting. So this really gave me a different perception of the tarot cards, because there is an astrological correspondence with each card in the tarot. And in this book, it goes over that. And sometimes I feel like it is a little complicated, the way that they describe things, but some things are really, really clear. It talks about the tarot, planets and signs, the building blocks of the tarot, the planets, the signs of the times. Then it goes into the minor arcana and more in-depth astrology. And here you have a list of all the cards. So if I pull the Chariot card, I know I can go to page 50. So let's do that together. And it says here that the Chariot card is corresponds with the Cancer zodiac sign, the sign of motherhood, home, and family life. At first glance, the sign doesn't seem to have much in common, which is something that I also thought, because the Chariot card is more adventurous. And then it says, look again though, and you'll soon discover that the high-flying charioteer never leaves her home and family for long. And then it talks about basically how to interpret it in an astrology way, I guess. And it says Cancer is a water sign. It symbolizes emotional energy. I think it's so interesting the way that this is written. And like I said, sometimes I think it's a little complicated, but I think that's mostly because they don't use the traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck. I am not sure what tarot deck they use. Here it talks about the Six of Wands, which corresponds with having Jupiter in Leo. So yeah, that is the tarot and astrology book. Next is The Secret, and this is actually my first witchy book that I ever got, and I got it as a birthday present, so I'm not gonna show you too much of the inside of this book because I got it from a very good friend and he wrote in it. But this is about manifestation, and that is something that I never really cared for, never really was interested in or believed in until I got this book. And my friend said, okay, I know that you're not very spiritual, which I wasn't back then, and I'm still on my spiritual journey because it's not something that comes very natural to me, but something that I do feel very connected to. And he said, okay, I know you're not very spiritual. Some of the stuff in this book may feel a little floaty, a little too floaty for you. But there are some things in here, mindset-wise, that I think could be very valuable for you. And he was absolutely right. So let's see what I can show you because I don't want to share anything that he wrote. So The Secret is manifestation. So how to manifest money, relationship, health, and how to manifest a good life, I guess. I think it's really interesting. And what it comes down to in this book, the way that I interpret it, is that as long as you radiate positive thoughts, positive things will come to you. That is how it works. If you keep thinking negatively, everything that comes your way, you will probably interpret it more negatively. Next is The Green Witch, your complete guide to natural magic of herbs, flowers, essential oils, and more. And this is a book that I see all the time in recommended for baby witches, I guess. And it's true, I really, really enjoyed this little book. I haven't read it all the way through, but I did place, as you can see, a lot of sticky tabs in here. It talks about what a green witchcraft is, and I am not necessarily interested in becoming a green witch, but I would really like to plant my own herbs and flowers and vegetables. I would like to learn more about nature because I really, really love nature. So what is green witchcraft? Embrace your own power, make your home a sacred space or make a sacred outdoor space, how to be in tune with the earth, tune yourself to nature, how to manifest the power of the seasons. And it talks about meditations for every season, performing seasonal rituals. And then part 2 is walking the green path. And there are a ton of things that I would love to learn more about. And so here we have some magical associations of natural items. So let's say here apple associates or corresponds with love, healing, and peace. So you know that you can, for example, create a dish, a food with apple, like apple pie or apple oats. And if you do that, set the intention, you can set an intention that it corresponds with love, healing, and peace. And then you can put in cinnamon, because that goes well with apple. Cinnamon can help you with healing, love, purification, protection, money, psychic awareness. And I think it's a really nice also kind of resource book. I don't think it's a complete guide because it's quite a small book for being a complete guide, but I really like it and I think it's super interesting. And it helped me understand a little more about nature and the magical correspondences with natural items. And then a last book that I want to talk about is Practical Magic, A Beginner's Guide to Crystals, Horoscopes, Psychics, or Physics maybe, and Spells by Nikki van de Kar. My inner Dutch woman wants to say Nikki van der Kar. Oh well. So this is, first of all, a beautiful book. There's a chapter about chakras, which is not something that I'm currently very interested in. Crystals, auras, herbs, plant-based magic, pagan holidays, white magic, tarot. And I gotta say, the little piece on tarot is kind of a letdown. It talks about astrology, palmistry, and dream interpretation. So this book is a little bit of everything. And I think that's okay, because this makes me dip my toes in the water with, for instance, palmistry. This is not a complete guide on palmistry, but I can read about it in this book and see if it is something that I would like to learn more about. But also, for instance, the pagan holidays is not something that I'm very interested in. Neither are the chakras. So, but I can read about them and learn about them, even though I don't, and I don't need a complete book about chakras or about palmistry for that. So let's go to tarot. So here we have tarot, and it talks a little bit about it, and then it talks about the suits. So it doesn't talk about all of the minor arcana, just the suit of cups, pentacles, swords, wands, and then it goes into the major arcana, which is, it does have more explanations, but I don't know, they're okay, and I think they are a good reference starting point, but there's definitely more to it. So I would love to get my hands on a good tarot book. It has some card spreads, and then it goes into astrology. Let's see what they say here. So here they have the fire signs written out, the earth signs, air signs. Yeah. So like I said, this is a little bit about everything. And yeah, I think this is a really interesting book, and I would love to dive more deeply into it. The reason that I haven't been able to is because of lockdown, and my boyfriend and I have been home all the time at the same time. So these are kind of hidden away on my bookshelves. All of my witchy books, except my astrology books, because he knows about those, and that is not as scary to him as I am afraid all of this will be. So those are my witchy books. That is my witchy book collection. I know there aren't a ton of books, so I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into the books that I do have to make this video more interesting to you. Let me know in the comments down below if you own any of these books, if you would like to own any of these books, what your thoughts are, what your favorite magical books are, witchy books. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more on tarot readings, tarot decks. Definitely subscribe to this channel. I would love to have you here. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.